Welcome to Hero Club.
I'm Nick Williams.
And I'm George Primavera.
George and I started playing Dungeons & Dragons with our buddies in college, and we haven't stopped since. Even when we lived on opposite coasts, I would Skype in George on the TV in the living room of my apartment,
while I would DM from the floor of my bathroom so as not to wake up my roommate. When I finally came out to Los Angeles, we started playing with our friends right away.
And when we'd inevitably tell other people about the ultimate betrayals and daring heroics that happened in our games, we realized that they were just hearing a jumbled mess instead of the cinematic blockbuster memories that were in our heads. We wanted to show people how fun and immersive D&D can be, especially those who had never played.
And to do that, we record a full game like normal around the table and then painstakingly cut it down from 4 hours to a clean, math-free episode, so you can experience our memories the way we do.
Just like in a real game, nothing is ever written or planned out ahead of time with the players. The only things we add are music and sound effects.
I am the Dungeon Master. I build the world and the framework for an adventure. The players, like Nick, must then journey through the obstacles I set before them, rolling a 20-sided die and adding character-specific bonuses to see if they succeed. If they beat the number I have in my head, then their action is successful. If not, it is a failure, and there may be consequences. We try to follow the rules of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition as close as we can, but as the Dungeon Master, what I say goes, and there are some things I like to do differently.
Each season is its own contained story, so find one that sounds interesting to you and start from the top. And hey,
welcome to the club. Hero Club presents Brand's Bargain. Chapter 4. The Armada Outpost.
I've a proposition for ye creatures on my killing floor, whose bones would soothe my children as they teethe. Ye can keep this grave to dig, or ye can join my Hempen Jig, where you'll be legendary ere ye live to breathe. So sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary ere we live to breathe. And when a beast my ship becomes, when rogue waves soak the powder bombs, and ye can't find a weapon to unsheath, ye dash their brains upon the rocks and tow what's left back to my docks, where you'll be legendary ere ye live to breathe. So sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary ere we live to breathe. Creatures, when ye meet the queen, the raven one is what I mean. Tell that tramp ye still can't leave. Lose your class and lose your name, lose your treasure and lose your game. But you'll be legendary from the ocean to the aviary. Sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary ere we live to breathe. Sails up, tails high, monster storm, look 'em in the eye. We're legendary ere we live to breathe. Even Gills had better heed. Sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary ere we live to breathe. Sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary ere we live to breathe.
After finding 2 quality naval ships reduced to flotsam, the Hempen Jig dropped anchor at an Armada outpost in hopes of learning some new information about their quarry. Some say knowledge is power, but in some cases, ignorance is bliss.
The mood aboard the Emporian galleon sailing eastward into the rising sea is somber. A quick investigation of the damage to the ship reveals it to be quite severe, with a clean hole blasted through every deck of the ship save for the topmost. Only a few dead are found aboard the vessel. a pair of blackjack soldiers, and the gunner captain of the Hempen Jig, Benjamin Trent. They lie on the deck covered with old, torn sails. Then, there are a great many missing, including more than a dozen crew members and Commander Skizza Greentail, who is nowhere to be found after she was pulled into the surf. Flintbeak, Snag Taggish, Tibby Feathergill, and Celestyna Wozcyk stare off into the distance where they left the gargantuan monster in their wake. They are flanked by Brent Butcher, the Moose Blackjack Guard, Fletcher Finnegan, the Otter Chef of the vessel, Gertrude Hillsby, the old mouse woman who tended to the sails, as well as 3 remaining blackjack soldiers, a goose, a hyena, and a porcupine, and the one surviving pirate from the Salted Lobster, the rat who exchanged a few words with Celestyna just hours prior. Captain Brand comes up from below deck, flanked by one of the Priests of Soul, no longer magically invisible, at his side. The old leatherback turtle stands with a hunch, supporting himself with a cane, and he is followed by 2 more priests, a shifty bat and a stoic frog, who appear to be restraining a small figure wrapped in arcane chains. Everybody make an investigation check.
14.
18.
7.
3.
A small owl boy stands before you. The boy stares up into the clouds, the only one seemingly not transfixed on the horizon line, and he closes his eyes, reveling in the cold, stiff breeze. Captain Brand approaches the prisoners, who catch their breath on the deck.
Captain Brand once again takes out his pocket watch and paces, counting the seconds to himself. 1, 2, 3. Well, congratulations. You survived. You lived to tell the tale and helped us all in the process. Not many can say that about what we've just seen. However, if you think I am pleased with your performances, you have truly no idea what you're up against. Tibby, you single-handedly saved us, but in doing so, damaged the ship truly beyond repair. If you had thought for one moment, one instant, you would have understood that going beneath the waves might have produced a much better result.
But wasn't it so cool that I was standing on water?
You have become far less amusing and much less interesting as the days wane on. I see you for what you really are.
And what's that, Captain?
A puppet.
Celestyna slowly walks up to Brand, feeling the pain from her wounds.
You would speak this way to the person who saved our lives. Have you no respect?
I thought that you were all much less naive. Miss Wozcyk, I will speak however I wish to my property. As a matter of fact, you might have disappointed me more than anyone else. A famed hunter of beasts, completely incapacitated, writhing around on the ocean's surface with nothing to do but wait for a savior. Do you think that is what I wanted when I found you?
Celestyna shakes her head and slowly walks to a crate where she sits herself down.
Mr. Taggish, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. What did you do?
Well, it's actually quite complicated. You see, I was harnessing the raw power of the tides and lashed out multiple chains all around the creature. It was tethered there, I could feel it. I was holding the monster down.
Ah, I see. So, what you did was fail. Was that before or after you ran like a coward? Far flung from the picture of vengeance I saw below the ship not days ago. I always feared that without any kind of motivation, you would lose all of your bite.
Oh, it was after, sir, when I was safely on the crow's nest.
Ah, Flintbeak. You're trying to act as if you're above all this. As if you're better than the ones you're next to.
Yes, but I also scat the hammock. I understand. Can we please get on to all of the unwelcome guests that apparently have been aboard this vessel this whole time?
Standing behind Captain Brand, the old leatherback turtle's eyes glitter darkly.
Captain, am I unwelcome?
As unwelcome as any of us are. I saw you trying to hold the monster yourself. You equally failed.
Captain, do you wish to dress me down?
Actually, yes. But not here. Not now. You are right, Mr. Taggish. I am very disappointed in all of you magic users. Even with everything given to you, you produce nothing. No results.
The smile has fallen from the leatherback turtle's mouth.
Careful, Brand. You forget yourself. Do not forget who funded this expedition, and do not forget the protection that we provide.
Everybody works for somebody. Should get your money back.
Flintbeak stifles a laugh.
Senya, Desmond, we have much to discuss, Captain.
And the turtle walks towards the other two priests. The little owlboy jerks as he is suddenly yanked inside Captain Brand's office. Before he disappears, he looks at the prisoners aboard the deck, and all of you simultaneously feel something just at the very edges of your consciousness, something asking to be let in.
Tibby, he wishes to speak with us.
I think we should let him. He's from my dreams.
He is here with us now.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to my head. You're not the only one here.
I have something to ask you, but it can wait. And the door closes and he disappears. However, you do not feel the presence retract from your mind. There is a third, silent entity sitting in the corner of your consciousness. Tagra goes uncharacteristically quiet. As Captain Brand follows the priests towards his office, the 4 prisoners are left to their own devices and are notably not re-restrained.
I don't know about you, but as I lay there on the ocean surface, when the lightning struck, I felt the creature for the first time. Did you also feel that?
I think we certainly made contact. You reckon that's what they brought us along here for? To deal with that? Lovely.
Snag searches his memory for any time he encountered black water like that.
Roll a history check.
19. I've heard tale of black water before. Any poor soul who sails upon it nary makes it out alive. But I've never seen it before.
Good thing you were here then, Feathergill. Fast stinking out there.
I just wanted to see what would happen. There's half a chance that the ship would have exploded.
Celestyna slowly gets up and walks over to Flintbeak.
It was also fast thinking by you. You saved my life. I have perhaps misjudged you.
And she puts out her paw.
Flintbeak nods and shakes. Water under the bridge, love. I understand not trusting these colors.
Celestyna looks at him and nods, and then walks to the edge and looks out across the ocean.
Snag leans over to Tibby. Salt this guffy old ship anyway.
That's so silly. Speaking of silly, why didn't Captain Brand warn us about that creature?
It didn't seem like he knew exactly what we were looking for, though he knew we were looking for something. And still, he has not given us a specific directive. I find him vague and rude.
And tall.
Could be he's not calling the shots in the way that we thought he was. Perhaps he doesn't even have all the information.
I cannot imagine that this was a popular idea back in Porto.
You think there's any chance he's as indentured to this as we are?
From the way the priest was talking, it is possible. I will also say that I don't know if you have heard this story, but there was once up in the Cold Lands that I took out 40 crab monsters in an attack on one of our coastal towns. And I will say that this creature we encountered, it did not move like those beasts. It did not seem like it came from this world. There was something, I don't know, like a machine about it. No?
40 crab creatures. Maybe Brand was right. You did really scat to bed on this one.
Pardon me?
Oh!
Standing behind you is Gertrude Hillsby.
I just wanted to come over and say thank you. Because I don't think you've heard that yet, and we owe you a great deal. Those of us who still want to return after this. So thank you. From all of us.
Snag claps over, stoops down, and puts a hand on Gertrude Hillsby's shoulder. Oh, Miss Hillsby, none of us are returning home.
Roll an intimidation check.
15.
Gertrude smiles in your face, unaffected by your cynicism.
Oh, right, dear. Sure. Whatever you have to tell yourself so that you don't have to worry about facing the next day.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm very nervous about the next day.
Yes. Well, we put together a little something to say thank you. Fletcher will drop it off at your cells when you go to bed.
What brought you aboard this ship, if I might ask?
Gertrude stops for a moment and looks down at the ground.
Debts to be paid and all that.
Roll an insight check.
Dirty 20.
She gives you a knowing wink and a wave, and on her fingertips dance a few magical sparkles.
Bang on, ma'am. Bang on.
Everyone roll a history check.
13.
Botch.
Botch. 10.
All of you stare a bit confused as Miss Hillsby walks away, and then Fletcher comes up on the side of you.
They're getting stricter day by day on who can use magic and when, etc. It's not so good on the mainland right now for magic users.
All the more reason never to go ashore.
Tibby smiles at Fletcher. I'm glad to see you made it through that battle.
Thank you for getting us through it. And the rest of you as well.
I would just like to say that the crab monsters that I fought were not quite so giant in their size and not covered in sucking black sludge, so that's all I'd like to say.
Cutting to later that evening, the prisoners all sit in their cells as the Frog Priest of Soul walks downstairs and takes their post guarding all of you. They silently sit down and stare ahead in the opposite direction.
Snag sits catatonic, facing the wall of his cell, his eyes fluttering.
Celestyna sets down her empty plate and turns to the frog priest.
This hunt might go better if we worked together. Would you like to share anything with us that we might be able to use? I have killed a lot of crabs in my day. 40 to be exact, but none of them were like that.
They slowly turn their head with giant, unblinking red eyes staring.
You must simply trust in the sun and have faith, child. Soul's light will protect us and guide us. Keep faith. Keep faith.
Oh, you're one of those. Okay.
Sure, right. Didn't quite help that hawk friend of yours out there on the surf today, though, did it?
Yesup's fate had shaken. Death was imminent for him. He was a scared.
Tibby recognizes this sound to be a vicious Scalic swear.
Now, it doesn't seem like the right time or place to be so rude.
Senya turns around, finished with the conversation, opens a small book, and they begin to mutter prayers under their breath.
All right, then.
And Celestyna turns around 3 times and settles into a big furry donut.
Trying to be nonchalant, Flintbeak walks over and sits down next to Celestyna. Oi, Wozcyk. I assume none of us are making it out of here alive. But in case you do and I don't, there's a woman back on shore who I'd really like to see dead. I figure you have a better chance than anyone to get to her.
Her name?
Dr. Margaret Palmer. Last time I heard, she was into capital. If you really got a bone to pick with the Blackjacks, I promise you she's no friend.
Understood. I will also give you a name if it is you that survives.
Please.
Captain Philip Darkwater.
Roll a history check, Flintbeak.
16. I've heard of him.
Did you hear that he burned my village to the ground, leaving no one alive?
Well, clearly he left one person. Big mistake on his part.
That's correct.
Snag jerks awake.
Snag's eyes close and then open again, back to normal. Thank you, Merdina, you bonny lass.
Cutting back a few hours previous, Merdina, flying on the wind as the prisoners begin to descend back into the bowels of the Hempen Jig, drifts incorporeally around every undiscovered portion of ship. Our prisoners are familiar with the upper hold, several hammocks laying around, the kitchen towards the bow of the ship, and the prisons to the stern. Below deck, a vast, empty main hold, which previously held the small owl boy wrapped in chains, surrounded by a seemingly very magical structure that is now completely destroyed. As Merdina flits through the small hole a few decks above, she sees vast rows of empty hammocks now unoccupied by missing soldiers, and floating up a little further, moves above deck and into the interior offices and bedrooms. A few very nicely set up beds, clearly meant for the traveling priests, with luxurious silk curtains and small holy books, with the emblazoned sun of the Church of Soul on the cover. In Brand's personal study, a coffee table is set up, surrounded by chairs, a few filing cabinets, and behind a locked door, a sleeping hunter scorpion rests at the foot of an enormous safe. And in this safe is a small lockbox. In this lockbox are papers, all tightly pushed together. Merdina is unable to determine what is written on these papers, but flits above as voices begin to raise. Captain Brand and the leatherback turtle priest are having some sort of argument. Next to him, the frog and the bat flank the small owl boy.
You are on my ship. We've tried it your way. It didn't work. We're trying it mine from now on.
Isn't what exactly is your way, Captain?
One that allows my prisoners full reign of their abilities.
Fine then. They will no longer be shackled. Pray that they don't kill you in your sleep, Brand.
I understand why you're here. But you must have understood that the second the Crown let you on this ship, your lives were forfeit as well.
Ah, that is where you are wrong. Your cynicism is not shared. We are resourceful. We shall live. And besides, worst comes to worst.
And the leatherback turtle eyes the owl boy wrapped in chains. The owl does not respond, but instead is making direct eye contact with Merdina.
Listen closely, little wing.
And while making eye contact says, out loud, "You're a liar," looking at the priest, and then looking to Captain Brand. "You're all liars. You'll dispose of them when you're finished, like you'll dispose of me. Isn't that right?" The turtle flaps a flipper, and the owl's mouth magically shuts.
My apologies, Captain.
Captain Brand addresses the owl directly. Yes, is that what you want to hear? Yes. The amount of lives, the amount of bodies, orphans, widows, widowers, mothers and fathers, childless, between the 5 of you, incalculable. I lied. I will continue to lie. But I hope that you remember, at the end, that with all your strength, it was me who ended your entire line.
The owl shifts for a moment. Merdina, make an investigation check.
18.
Something changes about the owl for a moment, but Merdina isn't observant enough to catch it, and instead the owl just turns his eyes back on Merdina. Merdina floats away as the conversation lulls and the priests slowly begin to return to their quarters. Merdina continues to survey for the rest of the day and eventually returns to Snag that evening. And we cut back to Snag just having explained all of this, while Senya Two Toes snores echo in the hold.
So you see, Brand's bargain is really more of a farce. Never meant to uphold his end of the deal after all. It's just gonna throw us away, like Emporia does with all their trash.
I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, honestly, if I had all 4 of us held captive, I wouldn't let us go either.
In Tibby's head only.
He speaks true. I want to help you.
And just how are you gonna do that?
I can get rid of what binds you.
The brand?
The burning. I can rid you of the burning. But I am so hungry. I need food first.
Well, the chef, Mr. Fletcher, told us that he was making us something special. If you come down here.
Do you want to make a deal? Tibby, Shh. We're talking.
Wow, that's, what an offer. I'm working out a deal right now with someone else. We're trying to eat the sun.
You cannot eat the sun. That deal is stupid. I can offer you a smart deal. I'll take your burning away, but I get to eat someone.
There was a man on the ship who liked to eat people too. Sorry you didn't meet him. He died.
There is silence.
Well, the deal that I've currently struck gives me much power. I would hate to lose it.
If you wish, I can kill him for you. And what I take, I can replace. I can tell you are conflicted and need time. Understandable. Take time. Opportunity will come soon. When it does, you must free me. And if you free me and bring me food, I will rid you of your burning. But only one. Just you. Unless there is another deal you would prefer.
What kind of deal would that be?
Do you want me to rid all of you of your burning?
More bang for your buck, right?
Then I want half.
Half of what?
Everyone. Half of your number. I want to eat half of you.
Half of who?
There are many walking aboard this ship. I want half of them.
It certainly is something to think about.
And suddenly, the bell rings from above deck. Senya stands up, opens the outer bars to the brig, and motions for all of you to get moving upstairs. After a short rest, our party's hit points are fully restored, and they make their way up ladders through the hole punched in the ship until they reach the deck below the top and take the rickety, bashed-in stairs all the way up to the trap door, which flings open to reveal an island. Wreathed in moonlight, the storm now far behind the Hempen Jig. It looms ahead, and immediately, the awesome power of the creature only briefly encountered in the storm becomes apparent. The forest is sundered, the trees decimated, and the sand cratered with vicious impacts. Pieces of wooden structure are scattered around the forest, and a reflective black sheen covers a great deal of wood, almost glistening with a rainbowish quality in the pale light. The Hempen Jig slowly moves to a beaten dock, just a few pegs of wood barely sticking out at funny angles. But the few remaining blackjacks tie off some ropes, and the Hempen Jig stills. The gangplank is lowered, and Captain Brand opens the door from his office and walks out onto the deck. And with a simple nod from Captain Brand, everyone begins to descend. The 4 prisoners forced out in front. The Priests of Soul bring up the rear, all 3 of them holding arcane chains that wrap around the small owl boy. Everybody make a perception check.
9.
Dirty 20. 22.
22.
While Snag seems to waver sickly as he steps onto shore, the other 3 perk their ears up, sniff the air, and feel nothing but stillness and a dark, sludgy stink in the air. As you move through the forest, despite the foliage, there are no bug sounds, Everything is quiet here, only wind moving through palm trees, and the waves crashing on the shore behind you. There are no bodies, either. No blood, no gore, just an empty, destroyed town covered in a hardened black veneer. However, Celestyna and Flintbeak simultaneously step forward a little past where the group observes the destruction, and notice there is one standing structure a little further into this forest. The island is not large, probably only about a half a mile across, and in the center of it is a decrepit wooden building. As you approach it, the door bursts open and reveals, sprinting towards you,
an albatross wearing cracked spectacles and robes that are not immediately recognizable as military, more the robes of an academic, but in the classic black and gold coloring. His left wing is waving and gesticulating wildly. His right wing is missing slightly below the elbow and elevated by a sling. The wound is clearly very fresh. Oh, my hog! Oh, thanks, soul! Other people! His gaze lands on the captain's uniform that Brand is wearing. Captain, they're all dead. They're all gone, everyone.
Calm yourself.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It is good to see that someone survived. We have a lot to talk about. What is your name?
Professor Nybert, sir. A scholar of marine life and of alchemical history.
Interesting. And how did you survive?
Well, sir, it was more luck than anything else. I hid in that boathouse there, and as you can see, it's the only one left standing. It really, it was dumb luck that it wasn't the one that was, that it didn't get smashed to bits.
Cowardice. Effective. Isn't that right, Mr. Taggish?
Snag shrugs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very effective. Being an albatross, sir, I would have flown back to the mainland, but... And he sort of trails off, and then he looks down at his missing wing. Oh my god! Oh my god, my wing! My wing is gone! Ah! Ah! Ah!
Brand slaps him once more. When I said calm yourself, it was an order. Now, take us inside and tell us what you have learned.
Yes, sir, right away.
And the group funnels into the old, rickety boathouse. It is essentially a standing ruin, with sunken ceilings and warped, moldy wood underfoot. A few torches are lit and hung from iron sconces, lighting the depressing din with some meager warmth. Strolling deep into the boathouse, there is an old copper statue of a lobster, sort of the centerpiece of a foyer, completely oxidized and green, and a few doors leading to other rooms and hallways. Almost immediately, the bat and frog priests take the owl boy off into a corridor and disappear, while Brand ascends some stairs on the right, taking the one-winged albatross and the leatherback priest with him, opening a door and closing it, and leaving the prisoners with Gertrude Hillsby, Fletcher Finnegan, and themselves.
That owl must be quite powerful if the priests carry it around in chains.
I know, right? I'm almost insulted.
He is, and also, he eats people.
He what?
Eats people.
Well, but he's such a wee little lad. So cute in the lake.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the logistics, like if it's an actual like eating through the mouth or like an absorption. I'm not exactly sure. But they disappear for sure.
Hey, you buccaneers huddling up over here? We making plans? What's going on?
Behind you is the rat pirate captured from the salted lobster.
I'm sorry, who are you?
You remember me, Sammy. But you can call me Smelts after you saved our lives. That's what my friends call me.
Smell?
Smelts.
Smelly?
Smelts. It's because
Stinky.
Okay, I see what you're doing here. Razzing me. That's what friends do, yeah? So what's the plan? We gonna figure something out as a team? Mr. Taggish? You don't remember me, my man? Smelts? Good old Smelts?
Oh, Smell. I remember you. We had a meaningful interaction before that I remember.
Oh yeah, good times.
So what's our plan, gang?
Snag's eyes dart over to the blackjacks in the room.
Brent Butcher and another of the blackjacks are guarding the front door. One of them is sitting across from Mrs. Hillsby, while she sews and he cuts potatoes, assisted by the chef, Fletcher, and otherwise, the room is empty.
Keep your voice down, Pelts. We gotta move away from the blackjacks.
Smart. Let's keep it down. Come on, over here.
All of you move into the center of the room and huddle up.
Flintbeak drapes a feathered arm over the shoulders of Smelts. I think it's about time for a mutiny.
Oh.
Roll a deception check.
21.
I am so far ahead of you.
Smelts pulls out a wicked-looking dagger.
Hooey stabby stabbing first.
I knew bringing you aboard was going to be the right move.
How do you feel about being eaten?
Ha! That's funny. Does she always do this?
She does.
The door above slams open. Captain Brand descends the stairs quickly with a straight back, followed by the panicked albatross and the turtle priest.
Hoping to wash down that last conversation, Flintbeak grabs one of the potions on his belt and downs the potion of sagacity, sharpening his mind and increasing his intelligence by 3 points.
Wow. All right, Professor. The floor is yours. Tell us all what you know.
Thank you, Captain Brand. Professor Nybert looks at the unsavory party nervously. I was, given a laboratory at this outpost from where to conduct my research. We kept a spider crab here, for experimentation. It appeared to be larger than most grow initially and was, very valuable to our research. The outpost was primarily a financial checkpoint for exploring ships, and one such ship returned out from deep sea with a small glass vial of something we'd never seen before. It was this black, sludgy liquid. When I asked about where they found it, they said they found it in the middle of the ocean, but that answer never quite sat right with me, personally. Nybert looks back at Brand, and then, after receiving no reaction, continues. The sludge in the vial had strange properties, which we noticed right away. It was attracted to movement and vibrations, almost like it had its own mind or consciousness. Even when we cut it off visually from everything, it seemed to be very attracted specifically to magical energy. Our island's priest tried to neutralize the substance, and when he did, it expanded and went berserk. He was killed immediately. He succumbed to poison after brief physical contact with the substance. One thing I noticed about the sludge was that it exhibited this very limited reaction to temperature changes and external violent stimuli, and seemed unmotivated by any kind of survival instinct besides consume. Anything it came in contact with or that we brought to it in the experiments, it would devour. Unless, of course, we did this to it. Professor Nybert walks over to a wall sconce and takes out a lit torch from it. This torch has been burning for 7 days. That is without maintenance from me or anyone else. It was dipped in the sludge and has not gone out since then. The interesting thing here that makes it different from any other sort of accelerant is, unlike pitch or oil, the sludge doesn't diminish. The same amount of sludge that was on this torch when it got dipped in is on it now, and it's just burning cyclically.
Everybody make a perception check.
15.
19.
24.
Botch. That smells so nice.
Snag and Flintbeak reel back as the torch lifts to their nose, and they smell an acrid stink coming from the torch. Celestyna, you take a full 5-foot step back as your nostrils burn. Poison filling the air slowly and incrementally.
Get that out of here. It's poison.
Okay. Nybert replaces the torch on the wall. Now, and Nybert seems hesitant about this next part. I had a hypothesis that a crustacean would process the poison differently than our priest did. And I turned out to be correct. I proposed introducing the sludge to the spider crab. Initially, it immediately went limp and seemed to cease breathing. I thought that I had been incorrect, but then it very, very suddenly lifted itself up from the ground, expelling a deluge of blackened water, and immediately set about attacking the denizens of the island with wanton abandon, showing no signs of stopping. People hid in buildings, dwellings that were broken to smithereens. I did the same. It was only by the grace of soul or dumb luck, whatever you want to call it, that I survived.
So you're saying that giant monstrosity is just poisoned?
I wouldn't so much say poisoned as piloted or controlled. It is my theory that the crab's brain is less the primary brain in charge, and that it is more being puppeted by the black sludge. That the black sludge is somehow another presence inside the crab.
Flintbeak throws a quick look to Tibby.
Snag is disgusted. I dinna ken what they taught you up in that big fancy Emporia school, but you can't just go dumping living creatures into mystery goo, seeing what it'll do to it. That's exactly how you put yourself into situations like we are now.
Very irresponsible.
Snag looks at the blackjacks around the room. Color me disappointed with the entire Emporia school system.
Oh, is this what we're doing now? Are you truly going to sit here and act as though there is no blood on your hands? Tell me, how many souls are in your bottle?
Listen here. Every one of the souls in my bottle was put there on purpose. Not a single one was a mistake.
Go on, Professor. Spare no details.
Thank you, Captain Brand. Let me run through some initial observations I made during the attack. Before I fled. After I... Oh God! Oh God, my wing! Oh! I apologize.
The professor describes how fast the creature moves, roughly how tough the exterior seems, and some of what it appears to be resistant and immune to, including poison, fire, and extreme cold, as well as non-magical physical damage. Its massive claws have an ability to reach approximately 30 feet and move with a lightning-fast precision.
Oi, Professor. I was flying a good 100 feet above that beast and it still shot something at me. What's that?
I know what you're talking about, yes. The creature appears to be able to spit a hardened version of the substance at anything it perceives to be a threat. It's a different version of the substance. It's much closer to what's on that torch there. Non-sentient like the original, but still very toxic.
Oh, lovely.
And forgive me, this is perhaps the most obvious observation. The spider crab we had contained here, while obviously above average in size, grew exponentially when it came in contact with the sludge. Obviously, you know that if you've seen it and it's attacked you, but the sludge is the reason for that, and it has hardened the exterior as well. But one last thing, and this, I cannot vouch for how scientific this is. This is more of a hunch, if you will, but while the substance doesn't feel or seem natural, it does seem extra natural. Like something ancient or primordial, perhaps.
So, you're saying you awakened something ancient and evil and made it even stronger, and you want us to clean up your mess? Captain Brand, who's the puppet now?
Nybert takes several steps backward away from the group.
Brand seethes in place, staring at Tibby. Is just about to say something back, and then a turtle's flipper appears on his shoulder, and the turtle moves past Captain Brand and leans down to Tibby.
You still speak to your captain. You will treat your captain with respect and you will hold your tongue, or you will lose it.
I've lost worse things.
The turtle stands up, turns around, and looks at Captain Brand. Everybody make an insight check.
15.
14.
15.
Nat 20.
At first, it seems as though this priest is simply speaking up on behalf of the captain. But Snag, your eyes narrow, and you realize what's going on here. This priest is openly trying to show up the captain by exerting his authority to speak whenever he chooses and to fight the captain's battle for him, so to speak. The turtle wryly looks at the captain and returns to the upstairs quarters.
We must come up with a plan, Captain, whenever you're ready.
Snag, your sharp tongue rears up to deliver a vicious verbal blow. But then you see Bran's eyes, and the hair stands up on the back of your neck, and you know to speak now is to seal your fate.
Snag keeps his trap shut and subtly sidesteps behind the rat, putting Smelts between him and Brand.
Captain Brand slowly takes out his pocket watch, turns around, and begins muttering to himself again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And he ascends.
So, Professor, there isn't anything on this island that might, I don't know, help us against this beastie?
Maybe is the answer. He adjusts his half-cracked spectacles. I've been working on an antidote to the poison, and I don't know if I succeeded. I created a kind of a hydrophobic topical application that, while it doesn't cure the poison, it does allow someone to make contact with the substance without sustaining any of the poison's effects. Unfortunately, I only have enough for one use, as it does need to be applied to the entire body. The professor rummages through one of the nearby piles of trash on a shelf and produces one vial.
Everybody make an insight check.
18.
Dirty 20.
15. 1.
What's that behind your back there?
It's the second vial of it that I made. I have a second vial. Professor Nybert immediately hands over the second vial that was tucked into the back of his pants.
Right. Anything else that you're withholding from us? Flintbeak says as he pushes his coat back, revealing the pistols on his hip.
I wish there were, sir, but unfortunately you have left me quite unprotected in the event that I come into contact with the creature. Those are the 2 vials of the ointment I made, and I am without any more components.
Celestyna turns to the group. I think I should have one of the vials, since the only way I can fight this is up close.
I'm also in that boat.
As long as you having the vials means that you won't throw any shade my way for getting as far away from that crab as possible, I'm in.
But also, if you have to chop off one of my limbs, they do grow back eventually.
Mine do not, so please be sparing about that decision.
Flintbeak takes one of the vials and puts it into Celestyna's hand. I dare say I've had enough medicine from the crown to last me a lifetime. It's yours. No complaints here.
I would like to hear more someday when we are somewhere else.
Gertrude suddenly walks up behind the party.
Everyone, we're laying out cots for bed, so please pick your spot.
Oh, so we're planning to spend the night on the island?
Yes, that is the plan.
Could I not do that plan and instead go sleep on the boat?
Well, I'm not sure he'll agree, but if you're willing to be supervised, I can ask the captain.
I don't have to go all the way back to the boat, I just have to be over the water.
Miss Hillsby comes back downstairs a moment later and gives you a nod.
Snag trots out to the beach, heads down the dock, gets into one of the rowboats tethered to the side of the galleon, and curls up to go to sleep, taking a deep sigh of relief the second he's back over water. Oh, there we go.
Back inside?
I'm thinking I might take a look around the island. Never hurts to be too cautious. And Flintbeak, with a curt nod, heads towards the doors. Won't be but a minute.
Celestyna moves over to the nearest cot and plops down. The cords on the cot hang low, nearly touching the ground. Finally. And she nods off.
Tibby lays down on one of the cots, farthest from the others, as she talks to herself. Where did they take you?
You reach out with your mind, and there's only silence. But you hear something muffled.
Sorry, He is so loud. You wanted to speak to me.
I'm sorry, are the two of you not getting along?
We are not. You have a stupid man inside of your mask.
I think he's pretty funny.
He is funny. You should see him squirming. You would laugh.
You're funny too.
Have you thought about what I said?
Yes, I think there might be some delicious candidates, for your eating.
Oh, good. But you also have to get me out of these chains. I so badly want to fly again.
Right. What kind of magic is binding you?
Arcane. Suppression. I do not know, but there is a simple lock mechanism that one with slippery hands could fix. If you want, you could come help me. The priests are sleeping. I made sure of it.
How did you do that if you're bound?
My most powerful magic is restrained. They have prioritized it, but there are cracks in this defense they have resorted to, and I can sneak a bit out. I can talk to you. I can make the air feel heavy, but I can't fly, and I'm very cold.
If I set you free, what will you do?
First I will eat, because I am so hungry, and then I will fly away from here.
So, you would fly free from here and not have anything to do with this dread crab?
I don't know what that is, but if it's the monster you're finding, Brand's going to kill all of you. And then let me finish the job. He'll never let you live. He'll never let you fly. Do you want to fly?
I can't fly. I wish I could.
Tibby, you look up, sitting on your cot, talking to yourself quietly, and you see something fly through the window. Everyone in this room is sleeping now, so none of them stir, when a small, fluttering something, glowing in the darkness, flaps its little body into the room, barely a couple inches long. Roll a perception check.
23.
It looks like a very tiny fluttering bug, sort of shapeless, and behind it, little cinders burn off of it into the air. It moves over your shoulder into a small door in the corner of the room.
Tibby gets off her cot and follows the little light.
The door opens, the little burning bug flies again around Tibby's head and into the next room.
Come. This way.
In a dark, empty room, one of the offshoot rooms of this boathouse, there is another door that the little bug rests on and flaps gently, waiting for Tibby to open it.
Quiet now. They're sleeping.
Tibby, roll a stealth check.
10.
You slowly open the door with a long, relatively loud creak.
Shh, you're being so noisy.
You look into the hallway and see Senya Two-Toe and Brother Desmond, the bat and frog priests, slumped over, asleep, posted outside a very small room with a barred, brig-like door, and inside, wrapped in chains attached to the wall, is the small owl boy.
There you are. Hello.
Tibby says in her head,
I don't even know your name.
The owl does not blink.
No one's ever given me a name before. I have been called some things, though. Captain Brand calls me the threat beneath. But that's wrong. Unlock the door. The frog has keys.
Roll a sleight of hand check.
16.
You very slowly and carefully lift the keys off of Senya's belt and then very, very slowly unlock the door.
Shh, I'll do that.
And the door silently inches open. Roll an investigation check.
17.
There's something strange about the owl boy. You can't quite make it out, but he's almost blurry as he stands there before you. The chains restricting him to the wall but allowing him to stand.
This little lock here.
He points to something encompassing both of his wings.
It's stopping my powers, and I can't eat otherwise. Can you get this for me, please?
I could give it a try. What does this lock entail?
It needs a combination. Why are you still standing outside? Come in, so I can see you.
Tibby smiles and gleefully walks into the room.
Roll another investigation check, this time with advantage, as the small light bug lands on the owl's form.
22.
As you get closer and really strain your eyes, the owl boy looks truly strange indeed. He almost looks false, as if he's made out of paper mache and propped up.
What's wrong? You look scared.
No, you just look so odd. Like you're not really real at all.
This isn't what I'm supposed to look like. Do you know the combination, Tibby?
Tibby shakes her head.
No. Am I supposed to?
If you can't help, then why are you here? Go find the combination, Tibby. Go find it. Or guess.
Okay, I'll be right back.
And Tibby gingerly leaves the room, doing her best to not stir the two priests.
Tibby walks out of the room, returns to the main chamber, and goes to Smelt's cotside.
Tibby gently shakes Smelts awake.
Whoa, hey, what's going on?
Guess what?
What? Are we starting the mutiny?
We need you for a very special part of the mutiny. You're the only one who can do it.
Oh, wow. What's the job?
You have to follow me, and quietly.
Roll a persuasion check.
24.
He pulls the dagger.
Let's do it. I'm right behind ya.
Tibby leads Smelts back towards the chamber.
Smelt silently creeps into the hallway. Seeing the two sleeping priests, he looks back at Tibby with a quizzical look and mouths, "Is it safe?"
Yes, it's all part of the plan.
Smelts turns the corner, peeks into the room.
Oh, hey, it's that owl kid.
Yes, they're keeping him locked up and we have to free him.
Oh, I got you.
Smelt pulls out two small metal tools, his thieves' tools, twirls them in his hand expertly, and walks forward.
All right. What do we got here? A little combination lock, a little arcane thingy.
Smelts leans down, carves away a small piece of the rune that is on the outside.
In her head, Tibby says,
"This is your meal. Leave my friends out of it.
Okay.
And also, give me power."
Oh, I'll tell you what. I'll give you power, but I'm very hungry. I want to eat more of you.
Tibby gestures to the two priests by the door.
Yes, I'll start with them.
But like I said, leave my friends out of it.
Okay.
Dang it. This thing is trickier than I thought. Hey, I think there's
Smelts drops to the floor, dead. The revealed magical rune still glowing a malevolent orange.
Oh, I guess it's not that simple. You'll need somebody who can get rid of that.
Oh no! Can you still eat him?
Uh-huh. But hurry, he's spoiling.
Tibby takes a closer look at the magical handcuffs.
Roll an Arcana check.
Dirty 20.
You analyze the rune and find it to be a very familiar one that you have seen while excavating caves with your twin brother all those years ago. A rune that means death. A word that quite literally means kill.
Ask one of our friends outside. You can always threaten them. The bat is a coward.
Tibby nods her head and walks back into the hallway. She swiftly grabs the bat priest and drags him into the room and closes the door behind them.
What's happening? Senya, there's
Tibby quickly lifts her hand and summons her sword.
I wouldn't say anything if I were you.
Roll an intimidation check.
26.
He is silent.
Listen, I just need a little help, and I think you might be able to do it. I need those magical runes to disappear.
What?
I can't do that. Are you crazy? Do you know what this thing is?
Are you sure you can't do that? Or you don't want to?
No, you're not hearing me. You don't want me to. You don't even know what it is. It's a...
Clearly you don't know what I am.
Roll an intimidation check with advantage.
21.
Okay. I can try, but you gotta let me run the second it's done. That's the only way I'll do it. All right?
Sure.
Roll a deception check.
16.
Sweating, the bat turns to the chains and mutters under his breath and casts Dispel Magic.
Didn't work. Let me try again.
He tries again.
Come on. Easy does it.
A little bit of magical wavering in the air.
Don't unlock that thing if you know what's good for you. Don't do it. Don't unlock those restraints. You've got to trust me. I ain't no priest, okay? I'm not one of them. I'm just a guy that slapped a robe on. Listen to me. I am telling you, it's a mistake. I am one of you, miss. Don't let this thing out.
They talk so much, don't they?
Are you really one of us?
Tibby laughs and quickly brings the hilt of her sword down upon his head to knock him out.
Now, before I free you, I just wanted to know, how did you know about my brother?
Tagra is very loose with your secrets.
That's rude.
Listen, he wants to speak to you.
Tibby, don't do this. We can still accomplish our goal. Swallow the sun. Consume its power. This creature is a liar.
You said our goal? My goal was accomplished when I murdered those sons of roaches who killed my brother. I think it's time I made a new friend.
And Tibby goes to break the handcuffs.
Roll an attack.
17.
The restraints are unaffected by the first strike. Outside, Senya stirs.
Dirty 20.
Roll damage.
25 damage.
For the second time, the sword comes down on these handcuffs. And with a blast of psionic energy that echoes throughout the room, they crack and fall away, and the chains fall to the floor.
You've done so well.
A false wing extends forward. It feels much bigger than the small thing that you see. And you feel a small needle from the tip of it poke into your brand, and there is a quick searing, and you know that your brand is gone.
Now, if it is power you want, help me with what comes next.
The owl's head cracks and turns upside down, and its wings begin to unfurl to massive proportions.
You should leave. There's not enough room in here.
Tibby turns and quickly exits the chamber.
Senya, awake now, stares into the room.
What have you done? Captain? Captain,
And there is an explosion of fire as the heat rapidly increases and plumes into the sky. Tibby, you are specifically unaffected by this fire as it moves to avoid you. And out of the wreckage of this building, a massive, bug-eyed head with thick, log-like antenna pokes its way through the door. And standing there, unfurling its wings, is a truly massive, red-winged monarch butterfly.
I've a proposition for ye creatures on my killing floor, whose bones would soothe my children as they teethe.
Ye can keep this grave to dig, or ye can join my hempen jig, where you'll be legendary ere ye live to breathe. So sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary ere we live to breathe.
This has been a Hero Club production, produced by Nick Williams, George Primavera, and Jack Quaid, with associate producers Marty Abbe-Schneider and Dylan McCollum. Voice acting by George Primavera, Nick Williams, Caroline Lux, Lelia Symington, Gabe Greenspan, Dylan McCollum, Marty Abbe-Schneider, Chase Mullins, Jackie Emerson, Adam Rice-Carlson, Jasmine Xiong, and Erin Rice-Carlson. Theme song composed and produced by Matthew McCollum and performed by Dylan McCollum. Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod, Ben Doyle, and Matthew McCollum for their amazing music, Mage-Hand Press for their genius D&D 5th edition homebrew, Marty Abbe-Schneider for his incredible artwork, and Ali Cantonese, our hero. Follow us on Instagram at Hero Club Podcast, on Twitter at Hero Club Pod, on Twitch at twitch.tv/hero_club, and check out our website, heroclubpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and welcome to the club.
The ocean to the aviaries, tails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary air we live to breathe. Sails up, tails high, monster storm, look 'em in the eye, we're legendary air we live to breathe. Even Gills had better heed. Sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary air we live to breathe. Sails up, tails high, get down and let fly, legendary air we live to breathe. Sails up, tails high, get down and let fly.
Sure.
With that tone of voice, that's a deception check, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm just a baby.
I'm just a baby.